Today, we're talking about peace of mind. That was really bad. Hello and welcome to another episode of Iron Maiden-A-Thon. And today we don't really have a pop figure to scare the shit out of you with by holding it in front of the camera, but we have all of my other friends here. I have so many friends that are have to do with this album, and some of them are new, some of them are old. But we're talking about Peace of Mind by Iron Maiden, their fourth album. It was released May 16th, 1983, and it was recorded January to March of 1983. So let's give you a nice look-see-poo here at the album art, which is Eddie in a padded cell after his lobotomy. And then there's the back. It's a little mystical there. Pretty cool looking. Love the album art for this. It's obviously not the most iconic album art to come from, or single artwork to come from this, as you can see. By Eddie, all the Eddies here. I'll show you that one right away, just so we can get a nice look at it. That is for The Trooper. The, what I would say is probably the most famous Iron Maiden song from their catalog. Everyone goes apeshit when they play it live, but we'll get to that a little bit later. For now, we'll get into the background of the album because it's what matters most. So we had another bit of lineup turmoil here between the band. Clive Burr, the original drummer for the band, left or was kicked out or wasn't doing his job very well, depending on who you ask, and was replaced by Nico McBrain. It was the first Iron Maiden album to not have a title track. So Iron Maiden has a title track, Killers has a title track, Number of the Beast has a title track, but there's no track called Peace of Mind on this record. Speaking of Peace of Mind, it was originally supposed to be called Food for Thought, which is pretty crazy, and you can see on the disc art there's a nice brain, that's probably Eddie's brain, and some wonderful looking dinner. But yeah, that was the original album title, was Food for Thought, which is pretty strange, but they changed it to Peace of Mind after they said, oh, we want Eddie to get lobotomized. So you can see the little screws in his head there. Like I said before, it was recorded from January to March of 1983. It was the first Iron Maiden album to chart in the United States. This was their breakthrough album in the United States, alongside the breakthrough single that was not The Trooper. It was actually Flight of Icarus was the song that got them on the radio in the United States. It is filled to the brim with historical references, with movie references, with literary references. It's got everything, and there's 9 tracks on here, and only one of them does not have a reference, and it might even have a reference in it that I'm not picking up on. Let me get the shirt here. You can see Eddie on my shirt. So we'll just step right into the track list, but first I'm going to show you the book here. So I'll put my notes down and lean forward so we can see the liner notes and all of that. So you've got the cover. Obviously I showed you that already. We've got a nice picture of Eddie there on stage. Let me move my finger so you can read that if you'd like to. Pause it. We've got the quote from Revelations there. There's the rest of the band, looking as cool as ever. There's the first track, Where Eagles Dare. There's Steve Harris. Second track, Revelations. There's Dave Murray. Third track, Flight of Icarus. There's Bruce singing. Fourth track, Die With Your Boots On. And Nico. There's a nice spread of them all when they were recording it and looking cool and having fun. Must have been fun. We've got The Trooper and their Christmas card from 1983 with Eddie and the Seven Dwarves. Very fun. I wish I could have that as a print. We've got Adrian Smith there. Still Life. We've got Quest for Fire. Sun and Steel, and then looking at the nice dinner for the night. And then finally the last track, Tame a Land. And there's the last picture there. And then all the specs. So yeah. Let's see. Okay. I'm going to need to have this in front of me because I forgot to write down who wrote the tracks, but I'll go through that right now with you. So we've got Where Eagles Dare, which was written by Steve Harris exclusively. We've got Revelations, was written by Bruce Dickinson exclusively. We've got Flight of Icarus, which is an Adrian Smith, Bruce Dickinson song. You can tell that because it's poppy as hell, and, well, not poppy, but it catches your ear and it's really short. Die With Your Boots On was an Adrian Smith, Bruce Dickinson, Steve Harris written collaboration. We've got The Trooper, which is Steve Harris by himself. Still Life, which is Dave Murray and Steve Harris. Quest for Fire, which is Steve Harris. Sun and Steel, which is Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith. That could have very well been a single for this album. And then To Tame a Land, to finish off the album, is Steve Harris. So we'll go through track by track here, and I'll get to tell you exactly what I think of each of these tracks. So we've got Where Eagles Dare, which has the coolest drum fill of all time opening it. Before their most recent tour, the Legacy of the Beast tour, they didn't really bring this song out a lot, but they did on this most recent tour, and holy crap, it's awesome. It's a great song. It's based on the Clint Eastwood movie of the same name, and it just rocks out. It's long for an opening track. It's 6 minutes and 10 seconds, and so you'd think the track listing on this album is very strange, in my opinion. It works really well for this album, but if I was going to make a track listing for this album with these songs, I don't think I would have picked this exact one, which shows you exactly how much about music I know. And so it's very strange. It starts off with two 6-minute songs that are not blazingly fast, but they're also not glacially slow, but they're just sort of mid-tempo-y songs. Obviously, Where Eagles Dare has the drum fill at the beginning that gets you right into it, and then the hard-driving guitar riffs and all of that. And I probably would have led with The Trooper on this album personally, but Where Eagles Dare does a really great job of doing just that, of starting the album off strong and just getting you into it and grabbing you and pulling you in. So yeah, if you ever want to see something really awesome, look up a video of Nico McBrain playing the drum fill, because it's amazing. So Revelations is the next song. It's another 6-minute song. It was written by Bruce Dickinson, obviously, as I said before. It's a strange choice to put as the number 2 song on the album as well, because it's not very fast, it's mid-tempo-y, and it just doesn't have that speed that you would think that you would want from a 1983 album with these first 2 tracks, but it works incredibly well. It's based on the "O God of Earth and Altar." It says that in the song. It also has this sort of horror theme, and the horror mixed with religion inside the song. It's obviously a commentary on that. They included the song on the Legacy of the Beast World Tour, which sort of has this peace of mind flavor to it, really. And if you were to ask me to include a song on my top 10 Iron Maiden songs, first of all, the first 3 tracks would probably change depending on how I was feeling every day. That's just how it works for me. But I would include Revelations on that top 10 list. This song is fantastic. It's always amazing when they play it live. It's always amazing to hear it. It's one of those songs that if you just hear the opening riff and you just go, oh, okay, well, I got to sit here and listen to the whole song. So yeah, it's just a really great Iron Maiden song and a really great heavy metal song in general. And it just shows that you can be heavy as hell and you don't have to be blisteringly fast like thrash metal or anything like that. Not saying that I don't like thrash metal, because I love thrash metal. But the next song is the one that I said before that broke them into the United States airwaves, and that is Flight of Icarus, which if you've taken a 6th grade class on Greek mythology, you would know. The myth of Icarus is that he gets wings made out of clay and flies up too close to the sun and then burns to death and dies. Or the wings burn off and then he falls down to his death. Flight of Icarus is a short song. It's only about 3.5 minutes long. They played this on the Legacy of the Beast World Tour as well, and this was the first time that they had brought it out since 1986, which is crazy. I think Bruce Dickinson doesn't like this song very much, which is the reason why that they didn't include it, but that could be unverified. I'm not sure. Don't hold me to that. But it's not one of my favorite Iron Maiden songs. Like a lot of the like really short Iron Maiden songs that are like Wrathchild and stuff like that, whenever they include them live, it kind of feels like a waste of a slot to me, because you only get about 16 slots now with Iron Maiden. So if one of them's a 3.5-minute song that's not the greatest, then it's kind of a waste. But it's not a bad song. It's not the worst song on the album either. But it's also one of the only songs by Iron Maiden that I can play on guitar all the way through. It's a little hard for me to do the solo nowadays, especially after I've forgotten, but it's still pretty easy for those people out there that are bad at guitar like myself. The fourth song and these next three songs really as a grouping are where you get the like, oh, this is a 1983 heavy metal album. You've got Die With Your Boots On, which is a very speedy song. They haven't played this one live in a long time as well. But you're going to get a very fast, driving, galloping song. You can scream along with the lyrics. It's just a good one. I remember this being one of the tracks that stood out to me when I first started listening to Iron Maiden when I went out and got all the albums. This was one that I really enjoyed at that point, and I still enjoy it to this day. It's a really good driving song. It'll probably make me speed, so my car insurance rates will go up because of that. But outside of that, it's just a great song. I can't really say anything bad about it. Obviously, the next song, got Eddie here, you've got Eddie here, Eddie on this thing, Eddie, this little figure here, and that is The Trooper. This is the most famous Iron Maiden song. It just is. It was in Guitar Hero 2 on the Xbox 360. It's just their most popular song, I would say, among casual people. Even if you don't even know Iron Maiden, you've heard this song before. You've heard The Trooper. When they play it live, Bruce Dickinson dresses up in the whole British uniform and starts waving around the tattered Union Jack. It's just an experience that you can't really replicate with any other song when they play it live. I've seen them play this song on almost every tour that I've seen them on, and every single time it's just, the audience just blows the fuck up. You know, they blow up for the opening song and people start pushing forward and all that, and then when they play The Trooper, the audience really gets going. So, you know, what am I going to say about The Trooper that nobody else has said? It's perfection. It's just amazing. If you haven't listened to it, or you haven't listened to it in a long time, or you want to listen to it for this, please pause the video. And I know that's bad for me to say as a YouTuber so that you'll go somewhere else, but pause the fucking video, go listen to The Trooper, and then come back, because you need to. The next song is Still Life, which has a little message played backwards to poke fun at people saying, like, oh, Stairway to Heaven, if you play it backwards, it says something about the devil. Or, you know, people that were saying, like, oh, Iron Maiden are a bunch of Satan worshippers and Satanists for the Number of the Beast album. It's Nico McBrain basically telling people a fake warning of don't meddle with things that you don't know about, but they play it backwards. I used to not listen to this song because of that. I was like, what the fuck is this? This weird opening. I don't want to hear this. And then I finally listened to the song, and this is one of the most underrated Iron Maiden songs out there. They played it, I think, for the last time live on the Seventh Son of a Seventh Son tour. It's on the Made in England live album from that era, if you want to listen to it live. It's really good. But it's just a great song that I didn't know about for a long time with Iron Maiden. I didn't listen to it, but now it's definitely one of my favorites. It's definitely underrated. And so we go from underrated to, this song was a joke for me for a while. That's Quest for Fire. It's just kind of bad. For Iron Maiden, it's bad. For anyone else, this would be a great song, but for Iron Maiden, this song is very, very weak. It is just silly and stupid sounding. It's based on the Quest for Fire movie from the 80s. It's just really, really, really goddamn bad. What is it? Yeah, it's based on the Quest for Fire movie from the 80s. It's just really horrible. If it comes up on Shuffle, I'll listen to it and laugh about it, but it's not It's not making it onto any of my best of Iron Maiden albums or playlists, or if I'm making somebody a mixtape or whatever, it doesn't make the cut there. It's just not a great song. Eighth song is Sun and Steel, which could have swapped places with Flight of Icarus. It's just like a very catchy, fast, speedy song. Has, you know, the traditional song structure, and it's another Bruce Dickinson, Adrian Smith song, which you can usually, you know, bank on that song being one of the singles. This wasn't, Flight of Icarus was, but this song is really good. It's another underrated track by the band. I don't think I've ever played it live, but it'd be kind of weird if they brought this one out now. There's some other tracks, obviously, I'd rather hear them play live. I can do that in another video later, but for now, Sun and Steel is underrated, but it's not one of the better tracks on the album. And finally, we have the 7-minute and 25-second epic To Tame a Land, which is the number 9 track on the album. It is based on Dune by Frank Herbert. The song was originally going to be called Dune, and then they wrote in to Frank Herbert to get permission for that, and he said this back. Frank Herbert doesn't like rock bands, particularly heavy rock bands like Iron Maiden. So call that a rejection if you want to, but yeah, they couldn't use the word Dune in the title. Frank Herbert wouldn't let them, but this is, if you want like the grandfather of prog metal, this is it. There's, I guess you could call it 2 camps of Iron Maiden fans. They're the ones that like The Trooper, and they're the ones that like To Tame a Land. Obviously, there are people like me that like both, but you either like the super heavy, quick, or you like the progressive, driving, basically a bunch of different songs in one that have tempo changes and all of that. This is that. This is that song. This is the genesis of what Iron Maiden is now. They are a much more progressive metal band than they were before. They obviously have the faster songs that they write, but this is the start of that whole thing, that whole style that they have now. So that's all of the songs on Peace of Mind. To conclude the album, it was the start of their most stable lineup since the current one. This went from 1983 to 1990. So pretty long time, a couple albums in between there, and up until now, the 1999 reunion with Bruce Dickinson and Adrian Smith is the most stable lineup that they've had. They headlined in the United States for the first time off of the back of Flight of Icarus on the World Peace Tour. That's peace like a piece of candy. And it's just, I think that this album sort of gets lost in between the 2 albums that it's with. It's got, obviously, their most famous songs, so I can't get too lost, but the previous album is Number of the Beast, which is, you know, one of the best metal albums of all time, if not the best. And then the next album is Powerslave, which is one of the best metal albums of all time, if not their best. So this album sort of gets lost in the mixture. It's got tracks that they still play live to this day. It's very obviously highly regarded by the band. It has their most famous tune in The Trooper, but it also has some really, really great and just underrated tracks through their whole discography on Peace of Mind here. So that should do it for this video. If you like the video, you know, all that normal YouTuber stuff, like, subscribe, comment, share it, tell your friends, whatever, about how much of an idiot I am about Quest for Fire. I don't know. But that's going to do it from Eddie, and I. Well, I guess Eddie also here. That's going to do it from all of us, all my friends here, from me to you for now. And thanks for watching, and look forward to Powerslave coming up soon. Thanks for watching.